developers, and I'm sure that we have one here, that's the information they wanna know. Traffic, we had a call today from another person that wants to know, they wanna know information about the city, that we have some, but we don't share it, and we don't have it, where it fits like a present, and people can say, here it is, we have this to offer you. But we are gonna work on that this year, but on that end, again, I feel like I can take a lot of that on, but I do need help. So I just wanna make sure that that's clear. I can go over, like I said, I'll go over some of these budgets with you. I would, again, as I pointed out, there were some changes, but I would venture to say, as I mentioned, the bigger ones you'll find are gonna be in the police department. And we are gonna, I think the mayor brought up some good points as I won't get into all the details of what we discussed earlier, but there is, a lot of this is data driven, and if we don't have the data to support what it is that we're doing, I'll give you an example. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have a question. So what is like the minimum raise, like the minimum to the maximum that you give an employee? How, like, I'm just curious, because I know in our standpoint, I'm going back to education, like Tiffany was talking, and the teachers. We have so much, and then they allow so much, and yes, every year they'll give us 1% to 5% raise on our salary. And I'm telling you, they're qualified teachers. I'm not putting anybody else down, but they are qualified teachers that deal with a lot. And those teachers do not get paid hardly what they're supposed to get paid. So I'm just wondering what y'all's minimum to your maximum is. And going back to the point that you're saying about the police officers too, they put their lives on the line, and I think they should get a raise.
And again, part of that, we do that, I believe we have done that, and I think you'll have different parts of discussions. Again, we do it based on the market analysis we get. We can't compete with every community, I get all that stuff. You can't compete against with Pleasanton, have the number of staff that they have and the pay that they're getting paid or whatever. I have to be realistic with what we're suggesting. On the other thing, do I believe that some of these people are underemployed, underpaid, undervalued? Yes. So in saying that, part of what, to answer your question, one of the challenges we have, as you see, we have a $2 million budget for the police department. It's a $2 million budget. And part of the questions we had and we've been dealing with law enforcement was and I'll pose this question to the council, so we can talk about this if we start talking about the big picture. The police department is $2 million of a $6.5 million budget. $2 million, right? So we're doing that. My question is this, is if we have police force and they're fully staffed, but there's still the system that's broken. You still can't, send cases to the district attorney's office. You still can't get people put in jail. My question is, what is the benefit of having all these law enforcement officers? And no disrespect to the chief. Again, I get it. My question is, what is the benefit if there's still gaps and issues with the system? That's my question. And if anybody, I'll be more than happy to entertain a discussion with any council members or anybody else. But until we at least try to address this as a group, it is going to be an issue. And again, part of, to me, to your point, the taxpayers want to know, what are we doing? And what exactly is there a proposed solution by all of the entities? And can we do something better than what we've been doing? And again, there's no disrespect to any particular person, department, entity. There's nothing from my end, but that is the question. And we want to continue to hire officers, knowing good and well that people may end up in jail, may not get prosecuted.
With that being said, are we going to have a meeting with the county?
Yes, the answer to that is yes, and it's going to be before the next city council meeting.
Awesome, so it's not going to be with the council meeting?
No, we're going to
Okay,
do it outside.
because that's probably going to be like a
Okay.
4-hour meeting.
And so to Fred's question, and y'all, here's what I'm asking you to do. Fred's gone over this budget and he's reading the data that's there. And so really, y'all read it, before we go in any more depth over this, read it, look at it, be familiar with it, and then bring your questions back to him, because he can go over every page and he's just reading the numbers that are there. So to be productive, you guys go through it, mark it up, and go, hey, this is what we want to do going forward. But anyway, let's do that going forward. I'll get her in just a minute. We'll do that going forward, but then yes, that's going there. And then also too, on the big picture, I had lunch with the district attorney to answer questions this week when we talked about the big picture, to understand, to get data, so we can see, how cases are we turning in, how many convictions are we getting, how many indictments are we getting, you know, and compare that, you know, so we'll know how productive we are, and analyze the data, we can go from there, so that answers your question.
So-
Sorry, Brenda, you had a question?
Yeah, so when we were going over this, and this part says what's included in the budget,
Yeah.
in this budget, it says, and we went over these, but I don't know, I don't know if I took a snooze during this.
You blink
this
your
one.
eye.
I
Oh,
didn't.
yeah,
But it says one-time pay for city employees
Yes.
of $2,000.
Yes. That's in,
Did I snooze?
Yeah.
we did that,
It's in there.
we didn't do it,
Oh,
we
you
did,
did
we
say
didn't do that, this because there were increases this past year, we did it the year before. Again, on that end, if that, what the considerations again is we need, to that end, we need to find, right now, because the budget, quite frankly, isn't balanced. There's about $85,000 that we need to cut, and there could be more cuts, for the general fund. And we have about $48,000 on the utility side that is a surplus. But those are things that we'll be looking at, again, the vacation buyback, the, meetings and travel, the one-time pays. If it's something that we just can't do, we just can't do. I mean, that's just the way it is sometimes, and that's just the way it is. So I did as best I could to try to balance it, because again, as I mentioned, we were $1.4 million in the red.
Council, I got confident. He's taken from 1.4, and we're still meeting the needs of the citizens. He's gonna find the 85,000.
It'll be fine. I do appreciate the input from the council, but there are questions. Don't think that I don't think about these things. I don't lose any sleep over them, but I do think about it. And so I wanna make sure that on that end, you know, we're as, you know, try to be as
Tonight,
judicious.
you're gonna, when you go to bed, you're gonna dream about the budget, you're gonna wake up with the solution.
Just on the utility side, and again, I'll go over your big budgets with you. I can go over any budget you want. On the utility side, you have, your water system, wastewater system, and you do have a transfer. So what you'll find, whenever you pay debt, part of what pays the debt is your water system. So whenever we're having to pay, we talked about the $2 million, the discussion was held earlier, part of what your utility rates pay for is the debt to that, whatever improvements need to be made. So you have about $2 million that we pay annually in debt service payments. Of that, about $600,000 comes from your utility system. So I wanna make sure that those are the big dollar amount numbers. You have, again, your water plants and your wastewater plant are your bigger expenses.
You know what, can we, is there any possible way, maybe you can help on this, Bobby, where we could pass like some sort of ordinance, resolution, or whatever, saying that at this next budget cycle, we can't give nothing out for free? No matter who comes up to that podium and asks for it?
That's easier said than done, but okay.
It's not easier said than done, I mean, we could consist, because I mean, we struggle at budget time at this time of the year.
Yeah, we did.
And then throughout the year, we're giving, we're waiving this, waiving that, doing this, doing that, and then we're having to cut here, cut there, and do this, do that. And we should actually run the city as a business, not as a donation.
It's
And for
the-
your employees and for other stuff that the city needs.
Mhm. Yep, I think on that end, again, I know part of our policy we had with the Little League, for example, I think there's a provision in there for nonprofits, so we have to see their financials. A lot of times when we do that, a lot of folks don't wanna provide the financials, so they choose not to go through the process. But we are asking for the financials. We asked them for the chamber, we're asking them for the Little League, and anybody else that wants a donation, maybe that's the fix.
And really what we should focus on, the bottom line is, that we want, we need to produce. In order to produce, we need to move forward. And I'm sorry, but for many years, we've been at a standstill, we've said it, with land that's been sitting there for many years, that has never been developed. And I think that this is a time where we're making the noise, we're doing an amazing job, all of us, and including every single staff member. We have nothing, it's just that we need to be cautious as far as areas we really need to focus on. Once and for all, as we're productive on this, and be proactive in where we're going in 5 years from now. I mean, we're not gonna know, we're gonna have these these numbers within the next 2 years. We don't know where the government's going, we don't know the revenues that are coming in, we're not gonna know that. So, I mean, do we bombard a budget now with areas that we can hold off on? And really think about where we should nail it? I mean, to me, we should nail it at the, bringing, working with these companies, bringing in these new, businesses and stuff like that. And that increases what we should be
Yep.
targeting. Then we have that discussion. And
Agreed.
that's the way,
I think, again, as far as I can see, some of that is coming together, I'll say that. You do have, again, when I spoke to the chamber today, they seem like they're moving, I think we're moving in the right direction. And we just, on that end, we just wanna be able to communicate. I will say that from my standpoint, one of the things I think we've done better than most is we plan better. I think what I gather is that other entities, everybody struggles, right? But as far as the planning effort, I think we've done a better job, and I think we're ready. More so than, if somebody says, you need money for this, yeah, here's all the projects. I think we've done that better, and I think we're gonna continue to propose shovel-ready projects and get them going and get them to where there's potential development. And again, as I mentioned, when people come to us, they don't come to us, they come to us because they want utilities and they want somebody to give them water, so that's what they want. And so our job, to me, is yes, provide the incentives, but say, hey, yeah, we have water and sewer right here, you can come over here and build whatever you wanna build, because we have it. And so, that's one of the things we're gonna work on, and so, yeah, there's work to be done for sure.
and the partnership with other entities such as the school district, we want people to stay here. And we've noticed that many people leave because there is really not,
Yeah.
I'll be a perfect example, took off and went to school, but in order for me to get to where I wanted to be, I think I would have to move on to something bigger city. We don't want that. We want the attraction here.
The housing issue, I think that's another thing. I have spoken to the superintendent, I've spoken to the CFO of the hospital and the warden here at the prison. I've talked to them and the CEO of the hospital, I think I mentioned him, but anyway, I have had those discussions, and so what I'd like to do is include them in this process. I don't think they have the majority of the employees, right? We're talking 500 to 1,000 employees, I don't know what the total is, but there's a lot of folks that may potentially, would be serviced by the housing, but we need their.
Especially now, of course, civic closes down here.
And Council Fred and I we've had a meeting with a guy that's interested, and we've got something on the burner. We've got a meeting August the 8th, so it's on there, With that, Council, I'm gonna go on to item
Mayor,
7E.
Real quick, when you said the chamber, it brought something to my mind. I have a question.
Yep.
I'm gonna say it and I'll share who gets mad. Okay, the chamber, the budget that they brought forth were not,
No,
okay.
no,
I'm like, they need to show something with what we gave them,
all of it.
what we first gave them and what they're coming with now.
We received a copy of their financials earlier today. We received a copy of their financials for the first, they're required to turn them around to us every quarter. We received that. They, on that end, they're due for another quarterly check this month, this month, next month. But we review the financials, and then they're required to keep, it's 40% of whatever the revenue is, with nothing more. So if anything more is approved, that'll be a council decision, that'll not be something that we will be giving them additional money for anything. And those dollars, those hotel occupancy dollars cannot be commingled with anything else, any other revenue source that they may have, fundraisers, that is separate from, what we, the city,
It
contribute
was
to.
just because when they came and I saw $65,000 on the
Yep.
director, when they had told us 40-something, I was like, wow, our
Yep.
employees don't even make that much money.
Yeah, and on that end, that's still not, quite frankly, we'll get you that salary, I believe we have the payroll information, I need to check with our folks, I have not been able to look at the
And
email.
did they publish that? That was the second question, because I got phone calls on that too. Did they publish that opening?
I don't believe so, I don't think they did, I don't know, I don't believe that they did.
Are they supposed to?
No, I think because they're
Okay.
separate from.
I didn't know how to answer, that's why I'm asking.
That's my understanding.
Okay, item 7E, discuss and consider, this is an action item, discuss and consider appointing the city manager Federico Reyes to calculate the ad valorem tax rate for the year 2025
Second.
fiscal year. There's a motion by Councilman Leal, there's a second by R. Garza. With that, I'm sure there's no questions, so I'll call for a vote. All
Aye.
in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, motion passed unanimously. Going on to item 7F, discuss and consider resolution number 20240708, a resolution authorizing the filing of the city of Pearsall's proposed annual appropriation budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2024. I need a motion. Motion by Councilwoman Hernandez, second by Councilwoman A. Garza. I'm sure there's no questions. Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
No.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Item 7I, submission of the 2024 no new revenue and voter approval tax rate for the city of
There is
Pearsall.
no action on this one, sir, it's just a submission, I'm sorry.
That's just submissions, there is no action for your information only. With that, we move on to item 8, general announcements. Is there any? Hearing none, I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Councilman Leal, there's a motion second by Councilwoman Talamontes. All in favor, please say aye. Okay, excuse me, correction, Councilman Hernandez. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No opposed, motion passes unanimously.
Don't throw